Students, we have seen how water is used and the need to look at all the inflows and outflows so that water can be rationally used. This may be for a river basin or for a village. Let us now look at the case of Hivre Bazar village.
Hivre Bazar, located in the district of Ahmednagar in Maharashtra, was selected for the Adarsh Gram Yojana of the government of Maharashtra for the watershed and overall development of village. The district of Ahmednagar is a drought-prone area with an average annual rainfall of about 400 millimeters. The selection of this village for Adarsh Gram Yojana had certain criteria, which had 4 bandis or bands that became popular with the Ralegaon Siddhi experience.
Soil and water conservation measures were undertaken in Hivre Bazar on common lands and on private grasslands. Continuous contour trenches or CCTs, which are dug on the slopes of the hills to block soil erosion and to harvest water and in turn enable grass growth.
In addition, a variety of water harvesting models was built in the village, like check dams, percolation tanks and loose boulder structures. Plantations were also planted on the forest lands and on roadside.
Students, we were discussing about certain criteria that introduced some bans. Let us now look into what these are.
The bans included Kurhad Bandi, which was a ban on felling of trees, Charai Bandi, which was a ban on free grazing, Nasbandi, which was family planning, and Nashabandi, which was a ban on liquor. In addition, the people also had to contribute their physical labor voluntarily. The landless were exempt from this.
Students, how do you think these bans are significant?
In the late 1980s, the tree felling and open grazing was prevalent among the rich and the poor households. The hillocks in the surroundings wore a barren look. As a result, the soil erosion was very significant and the levels of groundwater were very low. Besides this, there was also shortage of fodder and fuel wood in the village. Despite the ban on free grazing, the grass was cut and was used to feed the animals. In addition to these bans, other bans were also introduced later. The most significant of the bans were the ban on bore well for irrigation, growing sugarcane and banana, and selling lands to outsiders.
Students, if you look at these steps, the emphasis is on the long-term sustainability, especially with regard to use of water. These bans were not just some announcements or so, but they were ways of community building that aimed at people identifying with the common purpose. Moreover, it was not always a smooth aspect. Students, let us now see what the effects of these bans had on the village.
The area that was irrigated for summer crops increased to 72 hectares from 7 hectares. During a year with normal rainfall, the water is adequate in the wells to irrigate not only Kharif Bajra but also for Jawar and some vegetable crops. There was also improvement in the moisture levels of the soil in unirrigated lands that has helped for better productivity. As a result, the variety of crops has also increased compared to the past, with the growing of cash crops like potatoes, onions, fruits like grapes and pomegranates, flowers and wheat.
Students, the most important development in this process was the increase in the availability of water, which has made the cultivation of second crop possible. This in turn has reduced the migration of people. This has increased the productivity of the lands. In addition, wage employment has also improved with the wages rates going up. Students, The main thing about this exercise is that the social control over extraction of groundwater and its use. In addition, water to be used for irrigation is by digging wells only. Moreover, they have also come out with some rules like, in case of a good rainfall, they would take a full rabi crop, and in case of low rainfall, they will decrease the area under rabi crop, and so on.
Thus, the data of rainfall is used for crop planning and prioritizing the use of water. As a result of this planning about water availability, there was no shortage of drinking water even during droughts. In addition, the improvements brought in the area of livestock also helped the marginal and small farmers in a big way. The cooperative efforts were used to promote the dairy industry of Hivre Bazar so that the livelihood of all is improved. Loans were granted for many small farmers. As a result, milk-giving animals in the village went up. In addition, the better productivity led to better fodder availability. The milk production in the village increased to 3,000 litres per day from 140 litres per day, which is a 20-fold increase.
Students, this is why there is a serious need for institutional norms as well as understanding at a much larger level, like that of the level of sub-basis or river basin.